Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
They say you can't take it with you. Can you take it with you? Depends on where you're going. We're going to talk about the essentials in your life. What's essential? What do you need to keep? What do you need to purge? And that applies to life in general, or even if you're working with an interior designer and you're changing things up in your life, or your living or workspace. She is an interior designer, a professional of the year. Kristiann Colasacco, also known as Kristiann Creations, joins us. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I'm thinking deeper about this whole thing of what we keep and what we let go of. And I can definitely, in the last few years of my journey, see those things, materialistic and also in terms of my mind or people and all of this. It applies to everything in our lives when you think about it, right?
It does. It really does. And I mean, I have this conversation with every client when I'm starting a project with them. What are we keeping and what are we getting new? Like what's new and what's old? What's coming with us and what's not? And a lot of the time people don't even have the answer. They don't know, unless it's like something that's like a family heirloom or whatever. But it got me thinking, and I don't know, I randomly had this crazy dream the other night, and I think it's because I am in the middle of like this change, a work evolution, I think, and just like a life upgrade, where I was on a horse, and attached to the horse was like a small carriage. My dog was in it. There were like other things, but the dog was like the primary thing. Then I was on another horse shortly after, and I was trying to pull the original one I was on with all my stuff from my past life, and I couldn't navigate both. And it was really hard. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? And this is like a very realistic dream where I woke up exhausted the next day, and it's been living rent free in my head since. And it had me thinking, we do this all the time. We're constantly evolving, we're constantly upgrading. But like, what are the essentials? Like, what are the things that we absolutely must take with us when we're changing out our lives, changing out our space, and we're evolving, versus the things that really they just don't matter anymore. Like all that stuff, it can't come with us. You can't take your old life into your new life.
I experienced that when a really good friend of mine who I've known since I was 17, and we don't see each other a lot. We just kind of run into each other. I ran into her at a winery over the weekend. It was so bizarre. Like she was happened to be there.
Oh,
And she said to me 3 years ago, a little bit more in my journey, those people don't serve you anymore. I'm like, what? And then people in my life and things, change. And I'm like, what? And it almost sounded like you're the king on the hill and, be gone, you don't serve, off with their heads or whatever. And then I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? They don't fit my life now. I don't fit theirs. So that would be the essential. It was at one point. It's not anymore. They don't come in the carriage, pulled by the horse anymore. They,
that's
they,
right.
they leave. Um, I also held on to, things like a pool table and lots of other stuff, and I put it in storage. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that someday. I'm going to use it. All I was doing was paying crazy prices on storage for all of this. Uh, I basically had a sports bar in my house. It looked, it was legit. It looked good, like swag on the wall. It was great. And I sold it about, I don't know, 6 months ago. It was like time for it to go. Why am I thought it would come with me in my life. It doesn't. There's not a place for it. So make some money off of it, save some money at the same time. So those are,
Was it freeing when you got rid of it? You felt like this relief, like, okay, that's one thing got rid of. Now I can make room for the new.
yeah, in a way it did. It was awkward getting up to that point. And then when I found somebody to buy it, then it just sped up. Meaning it was good that it sped up. Like, all right, good. Now it's in the rear view. Like, when a car is going and the object is getting further away, it's like it went faster going away. I'm like, all right, that's all right. And little changes like that when you think about them, and also the things we hold on to, people
Mhm.
and or possessions. Why are we holding on to them if we know that they truly don't affect our or fit our lives anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. It's like that china cabinet that a lot of people in the older generation, they kind of like get stuck
Yeah,
with.
the curio cabinet with all the figurines and
The
all the garbage in
curio.
there. Oh,
Yes.
put that to the
Where it's
curb.
like you're just like, why do I have this thing? I never dust it. It's just sitting there. It doesn't even go with the space or any of the new stuff I'm buying. And it's just like I kind of got stuck with it because it belonged to my great aunt or like my grandmother. And I'm like, it was such a treasure to that person. But to me, it's like, I kind of don't want it. I kind of don't care. And I got to
Yeah.
get rid of it. And I'm always having this like conversation with people. And I'm like, just get rid of it. Just put it away somewhere. I don't know. Put it in storage. Just get it out of the way so you can infiltrate the newness and you can really like, it's like an arrow, right? When you pull an arrow back, it's like that big pullback. You like almost can't breathe. You're like, okay, what do I do next? And then when it goes forward, it goes forward, it goes fast, and it's launching you into something new and amazing and better. And if you're holding on to these things that no longer serve you, you can't be launched. You're stuck. It's like that rubber band when you pull it back, you're not going to get where you need to go. You're not going to evolve. You can't adapt and overcome if you're holding on to these things that no longer serve a purpose in your life. People too, just like you said.
Yep. I often wonder, the more I think about it, and they say one door closes, another one opens.
Mhm.
I wonder if you don't get rid of or make changes in your life, then that other stuff that you really want, that really can truly support you, isn't going to show up. For example, being in a relationship with somebody that really doesn't serve you anymore, but you would love to be with that perfect person. They're out there, maybe just within like they're right there at the edge of the screen, but they're not being drawn to you because you're holding on to maybe somebody else for whatever reason. We all don't like change. We fear, a lot of things, and maybe that new thing can't come to you, and that maybe that's a job. You're holding on to a job. Not suggesting you quit and don't have any resources to support yourself, but maybe approach it from a different way because the new job isn't coming in because you're stuck in the old job, like deep stuck in it.
I think it's fear of the unknown too.
For sure.
You get really stuck on that glue trap. You're comfortable and you know what you're dealing with. You know like what you can expect staying where you currently are. But are you so uncomfortable? Are you finally at that peak of discomfort where you're like, I'm out, I'm good. It is, I need change and I don't care what it takes to get there, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. I feel like everyone hits that point at some point in their lives, some point in their homes, in their relationships, in how they receive from people and how they give to other people as well.
But I believe we do everything we can to hide it. Like it's like put another layer of dirt on top of me because I don't want to deal with it. The
Mhm.
flower wants to grow through the dirt, but it's like put another layer. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But I don't know if we'll ever be ready. But it does. Most of this is fear based. Like you said, fear of change, fear of abandonment, fear of being alone, fear of financial situations, all of that. But until you experience a little bit of that, uncomfortableness, you're not going to really truly feel like you're living,
Yeah.
you know?
You have to kind of embrace discomfort at this point. I think everybody's been uncomfortable for a very long time and they don't realize it. So anything that provides comfort for them, they kind of hold on to, whether it's really bad for them or not. Or they kind of know, like I know people who are in marriages who they don't even like their spouse. They don't like their significant other, but they don't want to start all over and be in the dating game, but
Yep.
they're evolving, they're having kids, they're doing all the things that society tells them they should be doing, but they're not happy.
Right.
And it's just like you're doing yourself a disservice by
Exactly.
holding on to the trajectory that we are told and conditioned to believe for the sake of what? For what? Social media? For social acceptance? I think that's crazy.
But it gets, the longer you're in it, the deeper it gets.
Right.
Now one kid, now another kid, bought another house, on and on and on and on, putting down even, deeper roots. Well, just it's not that bad. Maybe it's worse on the other side. That's the mentality. But when you really get to sit with yourself and really see it for what it is, not easy. When you want to be happy, being with somebody that doesn't really support you, there's, and you gotta put that latitude out there. It might not be the perfect relationship, but it's good. It's okay. How much are you willing to accept in okay? Or is it like, I'm really not happy. This is just not working for me. Then we have to listen to ourselves. We don't though. We just, it's like, it's like the friend trying to tell you something and you don't want to hear it from them.
Exactly. You have to, I've personally become really comfortable being alone, and that's dangerous. When someone becomes very happy and comfortable being alone, nothing can really get in the way at that point, because you're like, it's so easy to detach from anything that enters your life, and you're just like, no, I'm good. Bye. You know what I mean? And it's a double-edged sword in a
Hmm.
sense. So it's like you can either be really comfortable with the wrong person, which I was for a decade of my life, very young, and missed out on all those years of like really learning about myself and figuring it out, or doing what I'm doing now that I'm older and now that society tells me I should be popping out babies and being married and all that BS.
It's overrated, by the way.
It's overrated. Listen, I'm traveling. I am building new businesses every day. Like I love what I'm doing and I truly feel good about it. And I try to have these conversations with people because they don't really understand like it's okay to be in this situation. It's okay to be alone and do life by yourself for a little while.
So I have a text from somebody earlier today, and it says exactly what you're saying. And scroll back here. It was like 2 hours ago. I'm not even kidding.
I was thinking, was it
Um,
me? But it definitely was.
no, no, wait, this is you. Wait a minute. No, this was 2:34 a.m. drunk text. No, uh, basically, I'm frustrated. Too much to text. Um, basically, she's saying that she doesn't have anybody that she can rely on. She had a medical thing going on, and she had to leave her car, so she was looking for a ride to get to her car. Um, and she says, "I'm tired of being there for people, and no one is here for me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." And I said, verbatim, I've learned these past few years to not rely on anyone. Glad your sister can help you out. Nobody can take care of you better than you. And
Yeah.
that's kind of a hard reality. But even if you're involved with tons of people in your life and there's, everything's great, there's love, blah, 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 whatever. When you get down to it, nobody can take care of you better than you. Nobody knows you better than you. Nobody, nobody can support you like you. Yes, others can help, but unless you're relying on yourself and you're comfortable in your own skin, you're never going to know what happiness is. It
It's true.
sucks learning that, but it's the truth,
Yeah.
you
You
know?
know, and I feel like you have to kind of test your own limits too, right? You have to really test how much do you have your back. So on
Mm.
Sunday, I went to Governor's Island by myself. I was by the pool. I had like a whole me day. And I was drinking by myself, had a couple drinks, and I'm feeling it. I'm like, wow, I am like so at peace. I'm so happy. But like I also have to get home safely by myself. So I have to be responsible. I can't ease so far into the relaxation day getaway mode, and then there's getting on the ferry, getting off the ferry, getting to your car, getting in your car, getting like the whole to do of like getting from point A to point B.
Yep.
When I finally did get home after all the traffic and my car was not functioning at all, the whole ride home, my whole dashboard decided it's not going to work. The computer
Really?
part isn't going to work. Yeah. So
Where
Nissan,
did that come? You have a newer car.
I don't know. It just decided like the music and the dashboard were like all the controls where you could see what's going on.
Okay.
It just kept restarting. The car was working, but like the dashboard computer part was not. And all I could think was like, it's having such a good day, and now it's ruined. Stupid car.
Hmm.
And then when I finally got home, I was like, wow, I really did that today. I had a damn good day. I got my back. Like I didn't need anybody. And it was so fulfilling. And so it just made me so happy.
Hmm.
And it's just further proof. Like you sit back and you think about all these moments when you have that and you've done that for yourself and you're like, I'm gonna be okay in life.
Yeah. Digression here on your car. Is your car working okay now?
I don't know. I've honestly haven't used it since because I've just been
Um,
so mad.
a lot of times, this is a major digression. A lot of times they put that stuff, the electronics, in the trunk. And if water gets in the trunk, and it rained on Friday, and I know that you're in the New York area, so am I, had the same problem with my car. And there was leaves in the channel of the trunk lid where it should
Really?
run the water off. And all they do is clear the leaves out and it worked fine. And worst case scenario, if yours is not still working, you have to disconnect the battery and reconnect the battery. Wait like 5, 10 minutes, put it reconnected.
Do you think if I have too many things in my trunk, the weight of it is like leaning on something? Because I mean, that could
It
be it
could.
too.
It could, but that's it was definitely in the trunk, and mine was doing the exact same thing that yours is doing, where I lost the electronics, I couldn't control the volume, like it was all like wonky just in the one central screen. So I don't know, maybe there's something there. I trace and it was moisture, trace it back to the rain from a few days before. This happened like 2 years ago and happened a few times. Hasn't happened since. So maybe something to check into.
I will. I'm gonna call up Nissan and say, I got too much junk in the trunk. The machine's not working.
Right.
Figure it out.
And everything I just told you, just disregard it because you don't need me. I'm putting myself to the side, right? You got this. You got this.
You got
how,
this.
how did I find out? Guy Dave I went to school with like long ago fixes vehicles, and that's what he told me. He's like, yeah, stuff in a trunk. Yeah. So hmm. um it is interesting when you get to the point where you sit with yourself in any situation and analyze how you're feeling. Do you feel that we don't really do that because we're just, we got lots going on, or we don't want to we don't want to listen to ourselves. We don't want to hear it.
I think we do it. Well, most people that I know, I find do it when they're driving, like when you have a long drive somewhere. Um, it's it's very easy to just scroll on your phone through social media on those downtime moments when you really should be sitting with yourself and thinking a little harder about your life and your goals and your aspirations and things you need to work on. But we're all scrolling, and it's an anxiety response, I think. It's a social anxiety response. When I'm walking the dog, I'll put one ear pod in, but I won't have anything playing. So I want people to think I'm listening to music or I'm like unattainable to speak, but I'm really watching every person around and everyone I see. I see people crossing the street. I saw someone get hit by a car in New York City years ago when I was working there because they were looking down at their phone and they got pulverized in the middle of the street because
Oh,
they're just not paying attention.
hmm.
And I think it's a trauma response, like for social anxiety. Like we should all be sitting within ourselves, being more present, focus on what's going on around you, what's going on inside your mind, inside your body, and stop with the social media a little bit. And I'm guilty of it too. I have to literally like hide my phone in the other room when I need to focus on something, or if I'm meditating, it's in the other room.
I've got noise canceling headphones, and I found myself taking a walk the other day just in my neighborhood, and I was going to listen to music, but I never put it on. But then I realized, oh, it's silent. Now, there's nothing wrong with, hearing birds and trees and things like that. I almost felt guilty for not hearing that. But at the other side of it, the silence was actually cool, and just be looking around because I found I was paying more attention because it was silent. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my dog's mad at me 99% of the time because I'll be sitting in here dead silent. Like normally I'll blast music, I'll get, happy vibes going. But lately I just want silence. Like it's just straight silent in here. I'm on the computer doing whatever I'm doing, or I'm
Yeah.
just sitting here thinking. And I don't know at what point we reach in our lives where we're just like, we love the sound of silence. It's very strange.
Because it allows you, this is why meditation is so popular. This is why meditation has worked for thousands of years, because that's how you connect with self. That's how, and most of us don't do it. We don't even know how to do it. We don't even know who we are. We're not even sure. We haven't figured that out. By being quiet, you're hearing all of the information inside, all the ideas, all of the, even the decisions, all the
Yeah.
answers. We all have them. It's right here. You need to know something. Should I do A? Should I do B? It's here. It's telling you what the answer is. Sometimes, most times, we don't want to hear it, or we're just too busy with the monkey chatter that we're not hearing it for what it really is. But that's where it comes from. So I think it's a good thing. I should do it more. I really,
I can't do it awake. I can only like all those answers come to me in my sleep. Like I swear on my life. I've tried meditation and
I get it.
it's so hard for me to turn off my brain when I'm awake because I'm like, I got to do this. I got to do this. Oh, new business idea. Oh, I need to like forget it. There's
Yep.
too much noise in my brain. It could be dead silent, pitch black. And that's when like my brain's like, hi, how you doing?
They say that before you go to sleep, you should set an intention, what you want to think about, and have something to write it down if you wake up in the middle of the night. And more times than not, if you've set the intention, you will wake up. A lot of times you don't remember it because we're half asleep, but just you've got to write it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
I'm going to try that too.
We'll test that theory tonight.
Right. You know what it is? I remember it, but then I forget about it before I go to bed because half the time I'm like so tired that it's just like, I'm just going to lay here and, I don't want to think of anything, let alone set an intention. But that's what your dreams are for. Your dream is your subconscious taking over and answering all those questions that, you're pondering. Um, Final question here, how do you get somebody when you're working with them on the designer side? How do you get them to release, get rid of the, not, there's more than the essentials in front of them. And to do the right design, this has got to go, that's got to go, that curio cabinet, that's definitely got to go. Like, how do you let them see that? And how do you nudge them to get rid of it?
It's reverse psychology. So what I'll do is if they're really unwilling to get rid of it, I'll keep it in the space. I'll put everything new around it and I'll leave that one thing standing out like a sore thumb that looks very out of place. They'll call me up a month later. They've lived with it there. They're like, I can't stand it. I can't look at it anymore. Like, we just got to get rid of it. I'm like, good. It's about time. Welcome. Welcome to your new life. This is what it's about. But you have to do the reverse psychology because it is hard to let go of certain things for some people.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that since I moved, I I pared it down and I'm more mobile and I'm not really attached to anything. Like we get attached to things in our lives, possessions, that cabinet, this thing over there, this. I have no attachment. It's almost weird. It's
Yeah.
interesting feel and vibe to it. But you know why? Because everything is replaceable when you think about it.
But you have to go through something to make you realize that, unfortunately.
I
And
do
and
agree.
and if you don't go through something that requires you to really release the attachment and really like reshift your mind,
Yeah.
you're not going to understand it. Like you'll think like, oh, one day, but then that day is going to come. It will be very unpleasant. And you'll get there and you're going to finally click in your head and be like, oh, I get it. So I'm the same way.
I totally agree with you because it's like whatever the event is, whatever caused you to change, maybe whatever, you almost died. People have had strange things happen, but it refocuses them. It's like taking that rock and slamming it into the water, and then the ripples come out, and the ripples are, oh, I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need that. I don't need those people, all of that. Yeah, it does. I agree with you. Usually takes something, an event, to make you see something a little bit differently.
I just had this conversation with a friend of mine too, who's an entrepreneur, very successful, works a lot, isn't living quite as much as he should because he's encompassed in work and his goals. And then, people are dropping like flies around us, and we're like, what are we doing? Why are we not living more? Why are we not more in the present moment doing things that we want to do? We're so focused on some end goal, but what's the end goal? You could die
Right.
tomorrow. And then what did you do today that made a difference in your death tomorrow? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, there's where the anxiety comes on, thinking about tomorrow. It's not guaranteed.
Right.
5 seconds from right now, guaranteed, not guaranteed. 5 minutes, 5 years. It's not. Sorry. Somebody who can tell that it is. I want to talk to them. It's just not. So why worry about it? Totally get it. We're out of time again.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah. Tell everybody your website.
It's kandcreationsanddesign.com. And then on Instagram, you can find me. You can find me on TikTok. You'll get to see all the different creative hats that I wear.
Yeah. It's your interesting perspective on things is very refreshing. It really is.
Thank you.
And where were you when I was getting rid of that pool table? Because like the curio cabinet, I could have used you at that time. I'm
only a phone call away now.
Well, I spent like $1,000 on storage of all this stuff in just a year. I'm not even kidding, but it's gone now. And so are we. Good talking with you, and we'll catch up soon. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.